Hey guys, we're live on location in Oregon, Boring, Oregon at Don Schmidt Nursery to bring you a very special cultivar highlight.
I mean, we pre-recorded it, so let's not lie to the people. I'm Matt. Thanks for subscribing to the Mr. Maple Show. Today we're going to be covering a giant dwarf Japanese maple.
Guys, I'm Tim, so smash that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and sign up for our weekly emails on Mr. Maple. We add 10 new plants every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you'll want to check MrMaple.com out then, but sign up for that weekly email and you'll get the listing ahead of time so you'll know what's getting listed.
All right, guys, today we're going to be talking about Acer palmatum Goshiki kotohime. And this is a gorgeous specimen here. This thing kind of gets, Eric was talking about it too, kind of a coral reef kind of look to it. You get these like elongated tentacle looking things coming off of it, kind of reminiscent of a little bit of coral going on.
Now it has its branches with not a lot of side branches on it, and those leaves are just so tightly layering. It gives a very unique leaf structure and a unique texture out there in the landscape. In the early spring, you can get some really nice shades of pink to bronze. On Goshiki kotohime, you may even get some small flecks of variegation in that as well. That happens from year to year. Some years it's more prevalent than others.
Great tree, a very heat tolerant tree for us. This is going to work zones 5 through 9. It's been one that's really done well in high heat areas from what we found. I do like the fall color on it a good bit too. You get some yellows, but also some ranges of orange and splashed in red. So there's a lot going on color pattern wise. It definitely is going to add a layer of texture to the garden that's super unique. You can pair this in conifer gardens or around other different texture Japanese maples. If you pair this with something like a Crimson Queen, it's going to look incredibly different and really stand out in the mix.
Now this is one of the first plants that leaves out in the early spring. It's one of those harbingers of spring in the early spring. When when it's leafed out, you know spring is here. And this plant just has that unique, lively feel to it. I mean, it's almost like you think of a Shishigashira ex Makawa, because you get that small green foliage, almost like a Shishigashira, and then that tightly layering habit in there. Such a fun tree out there in the landscape. There's not a lot of other selections that are like this, and this is just one that just adds that unique interest in the garden.
The small leaves on Goshiki kotohime make it a great tree for bonsai. It's a tree that's very popular for this. Now, anytime you're getting a named cultivar, typically those are going to be grafted, but you can always air layer a root from this if you're a bonsai purist. Oftentimes grafted trees still make great looking bonsai as well.
I know at some points we'll be offering Goshiki kotohime by rooted cutting, but it will specifically say by rooted cutting. If it says just 1 gallon, that typically means that it's a grafted selection like Goshiki kotohime. An excellent little dwarf tree, excellent for bonsai containers. In the garden, this plant just stands out from the crowd. The super small foliage, that tightly layering habit, this rounded form that it has. It's almost like little cathedrals all across this plant. I mean, it is just an outstanding specimen that is unique, different, special, and stands out from the crowd. And that's what I look for when I'm looking into gardening. I'm looking for the plants that stand out, the plants that say, hey, this is very unique, this is very different. Plant this near a Emperor One, plant this near a Tamukiyama. You're gonna have very contrasting foliage and contrasting colors. So some excellent plants to pair that with. Goshiki kotohime, an awesome plant to put out in your garden.
Yeah, it also works great. Tim mentioned the container garden, but this is a great topper for a patio planter. Because of that heat tolerance and that darker green color, it really stands out amongst other plants. And it also works pretty well in rock gardens. You gotta be careful with too much rock up against the base of your Japanese maple because of residual heat, but it is one I've seen look exceptional in some rock garden areas and really provide a lot of that textural interest in a small palette.
Guys, we really appreciate you watching today's video, this cultivar highlight on Goshiki kotohime, a unique tree you definitely need in your garden.
Guys, if we did a good job with this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel and ring that bell. That's the best way to get notified every time we add new videos. Guys,
we add daily content to our YouTube channel. We also add a podcast every single week. So check out your favorite podcast platform, the Mr. Maple Show. You can go in and listen to our weekly podcast.
Take care.
God bless.
Have a great day.